The most important thing about farming or growing a garden or collecting food, what have you, is that you always grow more than you'll need, and so that you can share it with those that need it most. So 98% of our food prior to the storm was fresh fruits and vegetables. Occasionally we had meat and eggs when we were able to get it, but a lot of that food came from our Feeding America food bank and our local farmers. And so trying to keep food that's grown here in Western North Carolina here in Western North Carolina.
6 vehicles for mobile markets that are getting that good quality nutrition out into the community. As you said, like 5 counties, hard to reach areas.
On September the 27th, Hurricane Helene hit Western North Carolina.
North Carolina is cleaning up from the worst flooding ever on record for the state. The city's now isolated after roads leading there flooded and cell towers were knocked down. One emergency official calls it biblical devastation.
We had immense flooding here in Western North Carolina. All of our rivers crested well above flood stage, and historic flood stage at that. Something like over 1,000 landslides were documented. Trying to fathom all of that. Personally, we had trees down on our home. It was one of those scenarios that we weren't prepared for, because how can you prepare for that?
And they were not operational, but by some miracle, the Wise Food Warehouse, all of your vans, your infrastructure survived.
I pull in the parking lot and I look in the door and the lights are on in the building. And there was this moment of like, holy cow. Nowhere else in the city has power at this point, mind you.
I remember speaking with you and you said, all of my infrastructure is here. I'm sitting already. I can help, but I just gave out the last box of food in my food warehouse, and I don't know how we're going to get more.
How do we navigate past this point of getting access to food to distribute, because our community needs it so desperately?
Fast forward a little bit, we put out a call to 2 Ys that we knew had major food warehouses, and that was Boston and the Y of Centre County in Pennsylvania. And then Thursday, we get on a call with Boston.
Yep. I think part of it was disbelief that the Boston Y was going to derive us food. I mean, it's just a crazy idea. I was just overwhelmed by generosity and kindness. It's this unconditional love and support that was being shown from, 10 states away. And this desire to get us food so quickly that they were going to leave the next morning. It was 17,000 pounds of food.
We are on our missions to Asheville, North Carolina, to support our fellows YMCA of Western North Carolina in Asheville, the city of Asheville.
I got a text, I think around 11, that they were stopping for the night. So they drove from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. and then got up early that Saturday morning and were at our Y location by 10:45. To see Sophia and Ricardo on that Saturday after the storm was just one of those moments that I don't think I'll ever forget. And then we started realizing, like, people need more than just food. People need supplies, things like toothpaste, toothbrush, wet wipes, because the water situation was and still is a real challenge. And that's when Mel stepped in.
It was sort of like, okay, I'm on this. This is something that I know that it's our responsibility to be able to help people anywhere in the United States, quite honestly. And when you started telling me all the different situations of the food bank being destroyed and everything else like that, I knew right away that, that was a challenge, and I love challenges. I said, I'm going to load trucks and we're going down there.
And Centre County and the Alliance of Ys in Pennsylvania all rallied together to get us not just food, but supplies as well. That Saturday, we unloaded that first truck, and I will never forget when that truck showed up. That is the biggest semi I've ever seen in my life. Not only was it a huge truck, it was full of food and clothes and all sorts of supplies.
I knew that I wasn't done yet. So we just sent out last week our 3rd tractor trailer. And it was sort of funny because Ashley had just come back in from a Y meeting out of the country, and she said, "I just got word that we don't have a lot of space. Can you sort of like downsize?" And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, no, it's not going to happen. I don't downsize. You know, she's lucky she didn't get twice as much. You know, I've never met Ashley in my life, and I'm never going to meet half the people that, you know, that potentially we were going to be able to help. But I knew that it was our mission, you know, as a YMCA to help others, because that's what the YMCA does.
It's not only our YMCA movement associations showing us this, it allows us to be able to continue to pass that down to our neighbors.